What? Wow. I don't know what to say. As the world's biggest Cavs fan, I am very, 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 just shocked, to be honest. I know I rep the Cavs every day and night. Got a Donovan Mitchell jersey, got my LeBron jersey, got my Cavaliers shit. I'm clearly a big Cavs fan. I'm a big basketball fan, and I thought under the new CBA that there wasn't going to be a lot of trades. I didn't think that this level of a trade would happen. For one, this trade materialized really basically out of nowhere for us. We heard Shams had like there was interest of Darius Garland, not Darius Garland, of James Harden wanting to go somewhere else, and I was like, cool, dude, but like, who's gonna take a swing on James Harden at this point? Look at his track record, right? Just having to leave whenever I'm leaving whenever it's convenient. And to be honest, look, let me say this as a black man, if the company is not valuing you at the degree that you think you're valued and you have the opportunity to test your value, you should test your value and try and get more and do that stuff. You should do that. Use your agency to do stuff like that. That's something you should do. But when you use your agency to do that and you wind up in a bad situation, you take the responsibility, the onus for it, because you could have been more patient, you could have gone somewhere else, and maybe it would have worked out differently. You have to. It's a double sided coin. Like, obviously, players should be getting like the blame if something goes wrong in a situation like that. But at the same time, it's everyone. It's everyone's fault. It's everyone, right? If the team that initially took a gamble and swing on him just paid him like he wanted to be paid, he wouldn't be swinging around. And if XYZ, if the team was good and still had rebuilding in the Rockets, he wouldn't have asked to be traded into Brooklyn. If Brooklyn had the situation go right with KD and Kyrie, and I know Harden is the only common denominator with all those things, but like that's what you're supposed to do, right? From a business perspective, right? Let me talk about this. Let me talk about two things. The Cavs made this move materialize out of nothing, right? I heard that the Cavs had interest in trading for people, but I was like, cool, dog. I don't really know what you're going to do. I was considering that the management team saw them win 64 games last year and just thought, hey, run it back, man. I don't see why you would change anything, right? You just won 64 games last year. Obviously, you lost in the playoffs, but you lost in the playoffs because Darius Garland was hurt. And you cruised past the first round very easily and when you played against Miami. So I just don't really see I didn't see a need to do this. They're very, and also the Cavs, to this point, right, are very close in seeding between the second seed. They're very close in seeding between the fourth and fifth seed. Like East being wide open as it was, right? Obviously, right. They're in a great position, right? I just want to put this out too. James Harden is going to be turning 37 next year, and he's also wants an extension. So I'm not really sure why the Cavs did it for that perspective. And also, Darius Garland was only 26. Obviously, Darius Garland has some injury problems, so there's that. I don't think a lot of people were talking about that like at a very surface level, but like I don't think people realize that like Darius Garland is a decade younger than James Harden. So like I think that needs to be taken into account. Because if this goes south, which James Harden's situation typically goes south because the team that traded for him did not have enough foresight to think about what they were doing, and no, you know that I don't really like the basketball perspective. From a basketball perspective, this makes a lot of sense for the Cavaliers. For the Clippers, I don't know what the fuck you were thinking, dude. I would have just given James Harden the fucking extension. That's what I would have done. I would have given him the extension, especially considering how well he played in the playoffs for you last year, and the fact that you guys were able to go to 7 games with a team that went 7 games with the eventual champions, who also went 7 games in the finals. I would have been elated. You got the new arena. You get James Harden and Kawhi. Kawhi's playing out of his fucking mind. James Harden is a perfect like complimentary star. He gives you a ball handler and whatnot. So Kawhi doesn't have to take the responsibility all of the time. You sent Chris Paul home, and he was another one of your ball handlers. So I just don't really understand this for the Clippers like at all, because dog, if this was the era and everyone in the Clippers was coming off the books, and they needed someone to get younger, and they needed some flexibility and stuff like that, because they needed to really think about what they're going to do after the Kawhi Leonard era. But like why didn't you just give? I would have just given Harden the fucking money, like, because I don't think Harden would have transcended your team from being like bottom tier to that. And yes, and also this just changed everything for the Clippers again, because now I'm back to being worried about the Thunder getting their fucking draft pick, and I'm just like, I'm truly shocked that this is. I just wow, just this does Darius Garland. No offense to Darius Garland whatsoever. Darius Garland is not the type of player that's going to transcend your team from being like whatever they are right now to even up to this same level. I just don't understand that. And then for Cleveland, you got rid of somebody who can underperform in the playoffs sometimes. But again, I think all of his playoff underperformance was due to injuries and stuff. And they were being very cautious with the injury this year, so I just didn't understand why you would feel the need to do this. I didn't think that Darius Garland would be on the move. Obviously, the team was in the second place apron, so things needed to change. But I thought the things that needed to change were they were going to be like, hey, dude, Jarrett Allen, it's time to go, Doug. You have a very tradable contract. We'll see what we can do with you there. And maybe they were going to, I don't know, trade for Braun or something. I didn't really, quite frankly, understand this move. Now, they're still missing even more players at the small forward position because of their trade with DeAndre Hunter. But obviously, DeAndre Hunter's defense was not really going to make or break this team. They were just going to have to be guns out on the offensive side. From a basketball perspective, this actually helps a lot that they didn't trade Jarrett Allen because, I mean, does anyone need me to explain why James Harden pick and rolls are good for the game and good for like this team? Does anyone need me to explain that how he's gonna transcend Evan Mobley into like the same kind of like player we saw from Zubac a couple of years ago offensively, where he was like not as good into better, like the same Chris Paul effect that we've seen with a lot of other bigs. I think he can easily do that with fucking Evan Mobley. That shouldn't be hard whatsoever. I think this team needed another big for sure. Don't know where you were gonna get that from, but yeah, there's that. And they only had to trade a second round pick for James Harden, which really screams distress asset. So I don't know if Cleveland making this move, which I don't think is gonna changes my opinion about this team that much, to making me think, oh yeah, they're suddenly like favorites for the championship. No, I'm not swayed in that like feeling with that. Obviously, you know what? Let's just pause this. Right, we're gonna pause this, and I'm going to tell you about the other trades that happened, because I know we had to open up the video with the most important, the most exciting one for me, and also the most exciting one probably for the NBA fans at large. But like, we'll be right back to that. Obviously, it's crazy that Darius Garland is no longer keeping that. That is so strange, bro. Like, really, I can't put into words how fucking crazy that is. Yeah, I thought this team. Jeez, wow. Let's talk about Utah, because I was just about to say I think this team should have traded for someone like Lauri Markkanen or something. Let's talk about Utah. Utah just got Jaren Jackson Jr. with a whole bunch of front and got a lot of first round picks out of that. So let's talk about this. So basically, dang, I said that multiple times. I'm sorry. This team flipped Rudy Gobert, and they got and Donovan Mitchell. They got Lauri Markkanen, and they got Jaren Jackson Jr. They got their young core that they have right now. All of that off of the Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell trades. That's very impressive in my opinion. I cannot, like, words cannot explain how like impressive that really is of a haul that they got for Rudy Gobert. They got Walker Kessler and all that too. Like, this is, like, they have a very interesting team. My thing with Utah is, you have so many bigs on this roster that I don't really know what you're doing, honestly. Like, the Cavs are like one of those teams where it's like, oh, dude, they have so many good speed. We're gonna get, actually, you know what? I don't have to use the Cavs as an example. We're gonna talk about the Bulls very quickly. The Bulls have so many fucking guards on their team right now that it's ridiculous. Mike Conley being moved out of Minnesota was just like, why? And especially considering the trade, I'm pretty sure the trade deadline was last night, and the Mike Conley being moved out of Minnesota screamed to me that Giannis was going to be moved to Minnesota. That's what it screamed like. They were gearing themselves up for the Giannis sweepstakes. By the way, dear God, I'm like, what in the world? I am just like bewildered and surprised and just confused, and I have no idea what to say. Like, it's crazy. By the way, Luka. By the way, for those who haven't been paying attention, Luka's been a Laker for more than a year now. Isn't that crazy? Crazy, right? Man, I don't even know what's like. Jesus Christ. Anyway, AD was not moved this trade deadline. Obviously, it's because he was injured. But like, I thought some team was gonna take a swing on him. I thought Atlanta was gonna be that team, but Atlanta has stayed packed with what they got right now. So the Bulls, who already had Josh Giddey, right? They traded Nikola Vucevic to the Celtics, and I just like, what the fuck is going on? They got smaller and smaller. They got Mike Conley. I think they got an Jaden Ivey's on the team now, and I'm just like, what is going on? Minnesota. I think Minnesota got like a pick back from this because I'm not really sure how they got into this trade, without getting anything back. But it's just like, what? I don't understand what the Bulls are frankly doing unless they're telling us right now that they're done with the guard errors in there. Vucevic was a very valuable big in my opinion, especially because he can space the floor. And people are gonna be like, he doesn't play defense. He's not this world's greatest anchor in the defensive end. Like, yeah, but like that's a very the big role that he plays is, and speaking of shooting big, that's still a lot rarer than people like to pretend like it is. Like everyone's like, oh, everyone fucking shoots threes now. Not like Vucevic has been shooting threes over the past 2 years or so. That 40% clip, I thought, first of all, when he did it last year, I thought that was bullshit. I was like, all right, bro. You think you Brook Lopez? Nigga, I'm not impressed. Do it again. Then he did it again. I was like, what? So he's on the Celtics now. That's just, I don't even know what to say. Like, I'm just like, I'm so giddy, bro. I'm so happy right now. I'm just like, not even with the Cavs thing, just like with the news across the league, bro. Like, bro. I feel nostalgic, bro. This is like so cool, bro. I just love this. Regardless of what anyone else wants to say, though. What do? Let's go over back to the Cavs situation again. They got. So before the deadline, they got Dennis Schroeder, which is another valuable guard. I think they're real. I really thought with the Dennis Schroeder trade that was enough sign for me that like, oh, we have enough ball handlers on the team, and that Keon Ellis being a defensive guard would be like something neat and noteworthy. I wasn't getting a lot of burn in Sacramento, so I was like, oh, that'll be cool. This just tells me that like a lot of the other guards that were in the rotation last year from the Cavaliers, they were just not confident on Craig Porter Jr. like at all being anywhere like close to like a backup guard that could just play significant minutes in like a kind of like Peyton Pritchard role. Obviously not as good as Peyton Pritchard because by the way, I watched the Mavericks game last night against the Celtics. That displays everything that I thought about the Mavs. Like, yeah, their defense is really good, but like their offense is really ass. Like, they cannot hang with the team, and if a team gets off on them offensively, they can't fight back. They're getting railed. Speaking of Dallas, future is still like, I don't know. Cooper's defensively, like what I've seen from Cooper defensively, he's a monster, bro. Now offensively, needs some polish. I like some of the moments. His jumper's pretty good. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about him being just a big athletic guard that's not really good on offense at all. He's not going to be Ben Simmons. I don't think his playmaking is as good. Ironically, yes, I know you're saying to yourself, Ben Simmons playmaking. Yes, I know. He kind of reminds me of Ben Simmons, to be quite honest, but he's not as like shooting inept as Ben Simmons, but he's not as playmaking as well as Ben Simmons was. Obviously, you're saying to yourself, well, I don't really care because Blame is big. He just decided to pass up on that layup and stuff. Bro, please just take the analysis that I'm saying without like looking at who Ben Simmons became afterwards. Like, I think about who I'm talking about. I am talking about 2019 and like 2018 and 2020 and 2020. Nope, not even gonna say 2021 because that's the year that happened. Those years of Ben Simmons' career, where the public was optimistic, he would shoot. Literally, it doesn't even have to be threes. It just had to be in the perimeter. But regardless, yeah, that's cool. That's the comp that I honestly think he should get more often than not. To be quite honest, just because of how big he is. It's like, Have we seen a guard of his size with that level of defense? No, it's not in a while, buddy. Man, she's wow. I'm truly shocked. Let's go back to the James Harden and Cavs situation. That's so defensively, this team is not good. Like, this team is just punted on being good defensively. Obviously, though, James Harden is a much better defender than Darius Garland because Darius Garland is he's just small. He's like, I hate to break it to everyone. Darius Garland is small. I feel so bad for Hoodie Garland in Twitter, bro. I just wonder if he's gonna remain being a Cavs fan or is he gonna become a Clippers fan now? Either way, that's hell. If he becomes a Clippers fan, that's hell on earth, dog. Might as well stay here. But still, yeah, that's crazy. Oh my god, poor guy. Yeah, offensively, this makes the team better just by the fact that, like, bro's gonna be playing basketball, and yeah, Darius Garland was not playing basketball, and he wasn't playing at 100% capacity, and he had spurts of looking good, but they were against, like, some of the worst teams in the league, and the guy was not getting the amount of burn and that he needed to have at this point in the season for me to feel confident about him going into the playoffs. So that changed the dynamics of our offense a lot. Integrating Keon Ellis and fucking Dennis Schroeder was going to be a lot more seamless when we still had Darius Garland on the team. I don't really understand. Like, I'm not sure. Like, if I wasn't I'm saying like a lot. If I wasn't as uncertain as a lot of people can be with the Detroit Pistons right now, I think the Detroit Pistons are obviously the best team in the conference. Not just from a winning perspective, but like what they offer in the postseason. They're going to be a gritty, defensive-minded team in the postseason. That's obviously going to age and be a lot better than an offensive firepower team in the postseason, right? Sorry. Two, more importantly, Cade, they do have a playmaker and stuff that can actually get the shots off that they need to have in a half-court offense for this to work out. And Cade is becoming a much, much, much smarter playmaker, even throughout the season too. And his teammates are also like becoming more and more intelligent. This is where they need to be when Cade makes moves and stuff like that. That's opening the team up even further, right? JB Bickerstaff is an amazing defensive coach. I think that's very interesting. I don't think that this move makes the Cavs the favorites because I think for starters, I do actually, at this point, with how wide the East is, I can convince the Celtics could convince themselves reasonably, especially considering where they are in the seeding, that bringing Tatum back not only makes sense, but if they don't want to use Tatum in a high capacity throughout the playoffs and stuff, they don't have to. Because he's looking better and better every day. When we get the news eventually that he's cleared for 5-on-5 play and stuff, we could see him gearing up for the playoffs. Now, I don't expect him to be the Tatum that we saw in the postseason last year. I don't expect him to be even the Tatum that we saw in the postseason of 2023. I think he'll be somewhere in between those two, because I think 2023 was a fucking awful year for Tatum in the postseason. I know people are gonna look to the stats and they're just gonna be like, "Oh my God, you think 23 points and blah blah blah." And like passing chops and all that. Yes, the playmaking and stuff that we saw from him that year will be his game speed clock is not going to be the same. It's going to be different. It's coming back from one of those injuries and not playing with his team and not playing a full year of basketball up until that point is going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But I can see themselves thinking that it's a good idea to ramp him back up and get ready to play, especially with Brad Stevenson being the GM of this team right now. And Tatum and him having this like connection and stuff, and then obviously he's already won a championship with Joe Mazzulla. I can see the organization doing that. I would say that a Celtics team with Tatum, just especially because he could be the X factor and like this mystery element that these teams are not ready for and have not prepared for the entire season, especially with the MVP caliber season that we're getting out of Jaylen Brown certainly so far. I think, and I never thought I would say that, by the way. I think that they could reasonably expect to be the best team in the East. They could say that to themselves and try it. They could really realistically try that. Where does it put the Harden Cavs at? With Donovan Mitchell, by the way, it's crazy. Harden and Donovan Mitchell being on the same team is just like can like some. How do you? I don't know, bro. Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to say about that. That's gonna be so weird to watch. I'm very excited to watch it, but it's gonna be very weird to like think about logistically. Does this to me does this scream like as a move that whereas like this team is gearing up for the post? Does this scream like a move that this team is gearing up for a Donovan Mitchell trade? Maybe. I hope not. That could be something. This team could be gearing up for the return of LeBron. That could be something as well. I have no idea what this team is going to plan. Is going to do financially. I have no idea how this will wind up. I need someone who's smarter than me to check the Cavaliers books to see if that's available as an option. Obviously, you're not going to be playing LeBron what he's making right now, or you're probably not going to trade for him. But if you could add LeBron to the roster, should you? I'm not. I personally was of the opinion of last year, considering that this team with this team's ages and stuff were, that just didn't make sense to have LeBron on the timeline and try to win and try to maximize the team right then and there because A, you don't need to, and B, like obviously Mitchell's not the exact wasn't the exact same ages of like Mobley and Darius Garland, but that would sign to me that you would just stick with that. And if Mitchell leaves, you'll just tax for more offensive production from the rest of the team. That's what I was thinking was going to happen eventually, but this complicates things much further, and I don't want to say excited because it could be real nasty for Cleveland basketball if I say that. I am interested to see how this progresses, is what I'll say. By the way, to cut my hair, I can wear my Cavs hat. That's sick. Yeah, honestly, this is gonna be a much less polished video than even the video that I made yesterday. Well, not yesterday, but 2 days ago. But I am excited. With all that being said, if you liked the video, like the video. If you didn't like the video, dislike the video, but tell me why you didn't like it in the comment section below. All that fun stuff. Just have a wonderful day, because this is, wow, Jesus Christ, man. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm not talking about the basketball, the X's and O's of Jaren Jr. being on the Jazz, like, if you're wondering why I didn't tell you about the X's and O's on Vucevic on the what's the name? I think he'll be playing like a much more like similar role to Porzingis, but a more offensively versatile one, and you're gonna actually get a lot more use out of Vucevic than you did out of Porzingis because he'll actually be healthy and playing. I can't believe where the Celtics team is right now. It's kind of crazy. All the like I just said though, you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Bye. I don't even have a good outro, bro. Just bye. Jesus Christ, bro. I'm so confused.